Chark, and here are my top 10 wide receivers in the AFC South. Starting with my honorable mention, Paris Campbell of the Indianapolis Colts. He's a very fast receiver with a bunch of potential. However, he's only played 9 career games. The talent is definitely there. He was good in Ohio State. He was the 59th overall pick 2 years ago, but he's constantly injured, and I'm not really sure how good he will be next season. At number 10, I have my first and only rookie on this entire list, and that is Nico Collins of the Houston Texans. He went to Michigan. He's 6'4", 215 pounds, and he's a guy that has a big frame and is a great possession receiver and can really help out the Texans fill a need with that possession receiver, which they lost when they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. At number 9, sticking with these Houston Texans theme, I've got Randall Cobb. This is not the same prime Randall Cobb we saw in Green Bay. This is still a good Randall Cobb, however, not that good compared to what he was before. I was going to put him below Nico Collins, however, I've not seen anything from Nico Collins yet in the NFL to say that he is higher than Randall Cobb. However, I do expect Nico Collins to be ahead of him in the depth chart, be the second wide receiver behind someone you're going to see later on this list. At number 8, jumping things to Tennessee, I've got Josh Reynolds. This is a guy who played for the Rams for the last few years. It's going to be his first year for the Tennessee Titans, and he's not necessarily an excellent second wide receiver option. However, I think he's still pretty good. He was good in the Rams. He was consistent. He's a guy you can rely on, and he's at number 8 for me. At number 7, I've got a sophomore receiver in Laviska Shenault Jr. out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He went to Colorado, got drafted last year for them. He came off an injury, however. I do believe he showed a lot of great flashes this past season. I was going to put him higher, however. I just think these 6 guys are better than him, so I do not know where I could have put him if it wasn't here at number 7. At number 6, I have Brandon Cooks, the wide receiver one for the Houston Texans. Obviously, this is not your ideal wide receiver one. This division really does not have excellent wide receivers, at least from 6 to 10. When we start getting to 5 and down, we're going to see much better options. Brandon Cooks is not, as a lot of these guys are, not as good as he used to be, but he's still reliable, and he's a solid wide receiver one option. At number 5, I've got Marvin Jones, a guy who moved from the Detroit Lions to the Jacksonville Jaguars in free agency this offseason. He's one of those guys that has those 1 or 2 games where he's just excellent all year, and then he's kind of reliable. I wouldn't call him great for any other game. However, I do think that he will play a big role in this Jacksonville offense with Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback. At number 4, I have another sophomore receiver like I did at number 7 with Laviska Shenault. I have Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's going to take a big step up in the next season with Carson Wentz as his quarterback. I think he's the perfect option for Carson Wentz, and I think he's going to be really good. He's got a ton of potential. At number 3, another guy from the Indianapolis Colts. This is the number 1 receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, and that is T.Y. Hilton. I do think he's going to drop off this season, and I think Michael Pittman will take over as the wide receiver 1 in Indianapolis. However, I am not ready to say that yet. He's number 3 for me on this list. At number 2, I've got DJ Chark of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is interesting because some people would have him much lower, and some people think this is good. I've heard people say that he's overrated. People say he's underrated. I personally think that he is underrated and that he's the second best receiver in this division. I think that with Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback, he's going to do even better than he has been doing. I remember him at LSU a few years ago, and I remember just saying that he had a lot of potential, and he has proven to me that he's pretty good, and I think that he will be good again next season. And at number 1, of course, I've got A.J. Brown out of the Tennessee Titans. He's a top 10 wide receiver in football. He's a guy that you really, really want to have on your football team, and the Tennessee Titans have him on their team, and he's been producing very well. He's really good after the catch. He's extremely physical. He's big. He's strong. He uses that strength really well to power over defenders. He's got a great catch radius as well. There's really not too much wrong with A.J. Brown, and he's pretty young. Side note here, I would like to add is I believe that Julio Jones, the receiver for the Falcons, who will get traded in the next month, will be going somewhere in the AFC South. Whether it's the Titans or the Colts, I personally think it's the Colts, but those are the 2 biggest options in my opinion for Julio Jones. He will be the number 1 receiver on this list if he gets traded to either of those teams. Thank you for watching and listening. Give me your thoughts in the comments.